Welcome to the Exit Rich podcast, where the leading authority on buying, selling, fixing, and growing companies, Michelle Seiler Tucker, is dedicated to helping you find the path to retire rich and move on to your next adventure by exiting your business for the desired dream price you deserve. Get ready to exit rich with your host, Michelle Seiler Tucker.
Welcome to another episode of Exit Rich. I'm so excited today to introduce a very special friend of mine. Our Exit Rich guest today is an accomplished university president and a nationally recognized author, speaker, and leader, Dr. Nido Qubein. He came to the United States with $50 in his pockets and very few words of English in his vocabulary. Yet he went on to become one of America's most sought after speakers and consultants. As a university president, the story of his tenure at High Point University is known to many. In less than a decade, he led the institution to phenomenal growth, over 5,000 students, and significant academic advancement, tripling its size and moving it to the #1 spot amongst the best colleges in the South. He is a member of the International Speakers Hall of Fame, and in fact, has served as a president of the National Speakers Association. As a business leader, he is the chairman of Great Harvest Bread Company with 220 stores in 43 states. He serves on the boards of several national organizations, including Trust, a Fortune 500 company with $430 billion in assets, the Lazy Boy Corporation, and Thrive, which is a leading healthcare company. President Qubein is the author of dozens of books and scores of leadership audio and visual recordings translated in many different languages. The biography channel televised his Emmy-nominated life story titled A Life of Success and Significance. His foundation has invested millions in scholarships for deserving young people, and his family has been among the largest benefactors to High Point University and other organizations. Welcome to the show, Dr. Nido Qubein. So, Dr. Nido Qubein, my very good friend, welcome to my podcast, Exit Rich. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Michelle, it's my pleasure being with you. I've known you for a long time, and every time I see you, you've done new things, you've helped more people, you've been to more places, and you're a testimony to this country, and you're a testimony to business in general. And I know you're helping a lot of people with your writings and with your speeches and with your coaching, and I just salute you and appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And likewise, I miss seeing you. I miss us speaking together on stage and seeing each other at all these events. So, I remember when I first started speaking, my husband used to say, Michelle, you need to speak like Dr. Qubein. You need to watch him, listen to him, really emulate what he does. And then I remember hearing your story about how you came to this country speaking no English at all, basically teaching yourself English on index cards. If I remember correctly, you came when you were in high school, right?
Yes. I did just finish high school, going to college, yes.
Just finished high school.
Clearly, Michelle, if your husband told you that, he's got to be a very wise human being.
He is wise. That's why he married me.
That's good.
So you came to this country. I thought it was the beginning of high school. So finishing high school, going into college, not speaking any English, teaching yourself the English language on one index card at a time, and becoming really one of the world's best speakers of all time, right? You've won so many different awards, so many different accolades. How did you do that?
Well, look, Michelle, you know the answer to that question. If one has a clear vision and a solid strategy, and one is willing to employ practical systems and then execute, not just have an idea, but have a plan and execute on it, and not give up, If one acknowledges that there are no such thing as unrealistic dreams, only unrealistic timelines, that the circumstances we find ourselves in do not define where we end up, they only determine where we start. So the art of the possible takes over. It permeates our being, our brain, yes, but our heart and soul as well. And all of a sudden, adversity turns into abundance, fear turns into focus, challenges turn into opportunities. And this is simple what I'm talking about. And yet so many of us human beings overlook that or deny that or ignore that. And life is really not that difficult. You know, we say life is difficult. It's not that difficult. First of all, we all have a gift, what we paid nothing for. It's called oxygen. So to begin with, we should thank God every day that we have oxygen that gives us the breath of life.
Right.
Second, we all have friends, we all have family, we all live in a wonderful country. And so we have no excuse for not doing our best. And I get up every single morning and I say, look, I am a believer. You know, your beliefs lead to your behaviors, lead to results. I'm a believer that there is a way for every program, every plan, every task. And whether it's at Hype University, or whether when I help start a bank, or whether when I own companies, I've always, Michelle, this is what you teach. I'm talking to the expert here. I've always followed the fundamentals. I don't care what sector, what business, what market piece we are talking about. The reality of it is there is this common thread that's called fundamentals. It's like buying a company. You look for the fundamentals. Is this good? Is that good? Is the other thing good? Where are the risks? How can I mitigate them? How can I move forward? And so I think I have an understanding about the fundamentals of business and of success and of, more importantly, sustainability, whatever it is you want to do to create a longevity of the plan and of the success. And I don't deviate from that, Michelle. I'm always highly focused, and I'm always focus is more important as intelligence, as I say. And the question is, what are we focused on, right? So this is why we need coaches like you. That's why we need to read books like yours. This is why we have to enlighten our mind, because look, garbage in, garbage stays.
Garbage stays and impregnates.
Stays, and so eventually we'll become garbage dumps if we say bad things to ourselves. Now, wisdom in, wisdom stays. So as we grow older, we should become wiser. As we become wiser, we should be able to be more. First, being comes ahead of doing, and then do more, give more, serve more. And all of a sudden, I love the words of William Barclay, the Scottish theologian, who once said, always give without remembering, always receive without forgetting. And as long as we give, you've been giving all your life, as long as you give of yourself, your intellect, your resources, your friendship, your guidance, your coaching, and you don't remember, you just plant a good seed in the hearts of others. I can't explain it, but it comes back at you in bountiful ways.
Wow. That's impressive. So the fundamentals of business, because you've written so many different books. I want to say, 11, 12, 13 different books?
Yeah, it's about 18 altogether.
18. I probably have half of them on my shelf back there.
Yes.
And I need Exit Rich on your shelf.
Yes, I'll
send you a copy. So let's talk a little bit about the fundamentals of business and what makes a successful business, because you have your fundamentals. I have my 6 P's that I talk about in my book, Exit Rich.
Yes. Well, Michelle, look, number one, one has a very, very clear vision. If you don't have a clear vision, what you want to accomplish, you will not speak with clarity. Right. You will not think clearly, and you will make terrible mistakes. So one has to have a clear vision. What is it I want to do? Who is it I want to do it with? Why should they find value in it? Remember this, value alone is not enough. So I'll give you an example. Take Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi-Cola is a big company. PepsiCo provides a lot of value. But for me, it has no value. Why? Because I don't like Pepsi. And if I were to drink a soda once in a great while, I'll drink a Diet Coke.
Me
So
too.
if Pepsi were putting resources trying to appeal to me, persuade me, advertise for me, they're wasting the resources, because while the company has a lot of value and provides value, it's not appreciated value. In other
Mhm.
words, I don't need it. I can't use it. It does not fulfill my needs. It does not help me get my goals. It does not help me get my aspirations or overcome my fear. So therefore, it's not appreciated value. Life is about creating appreciated value, not merely value.
Mhm.
Every human being has some degree of value. Every product has some degree of value. But to create appreciated value is to get people to sit up and notice.
Mhm.
Think of it this way: a doctor may have gone to 15 different medical schools. You don't care. But if you were sick, God forbid, and you go see a doctor, and the doctor says, I know, Michelle, I know exactly what the issue is, and I know exactly what to do for it so your pain can go away. That, my friend, is appreciated value. And so, to me, you must have clarity for what you do.
Right.
Second, I think the person fundamental is that we have to learn how to manage risks. So life is not about risk avoidance. Life is about risk management.
Mhm.
And if you take risk out of life, you take opportunity out of life. So the
Right.
question becomes, how do you manage your risks, right? And I have a simple formula. You may have heard me share it. The formula simply goes something like this. Before I invest any money, and I have 3 meetings today of somebody building a hotel, somebody's building apartments, want me to be an investor. I mean, a ton of things as a silent partner and so on. I will run it through the same mechanism. I ask 3 questions and then one more, and I'll make my decision.
Mhm.
3 questions are these. What is the best thing that can happen as a result of taking this action?
Mhm.
That's right now I'm thinking about starting a dentistry school. The risk factor at the front end is $60 million. So obviously I'm going to do pro forma. I'm going to look at the numbers. I'm going to study the people who are going to help me get it done, all of that. But in the end, what I'm going to say is, what is the best thing that can happen as a result of starting the school?
Mhm.
And then the next question is, what is the most likely thing to happen
Mhm.
as a result of taking this action?
Right.
The last question is, what is the worst thing that can happen? Then
Mhm.
here's how I make my decision. This is about risk management, right? I say, if the most likely things to happen will get me closer to my goals, and if I'm willing to deal with the worst thing that can happen, I go for it.
Mhm.
But if the most likely thing to happen does not get me closer to my goal, why am I even bothering with it? And if I'm not willing to deal with the worst thing that can happen, that means I'm not prepared. I don't have a backup plan. I better
Mhm.
run and run as fast as I can. And I cannot tell you, Michelle, how many deals I've done in my life and how carefully thoughtful I've been following this simple formula. So life is about having a clarity vision what you want to do in life, whether it's
Mhm.
business or whatever. And it's about learning about risk management. Life is also about understanding the 5 or 6 capitals. So when we talk about capital, we talk about financial capital, right? In other words, you have to have money to invest in something, money to buy something. You go to the bank to borrow capital to start a business.
But
So
there's
we get,
relationship capital.
there you go. There you go. So number one, you've heard me before. So number one is financial capital. Not particularly in this order. Number two is educational capital.
Mhm.
You have to be educated. School is never out for the pro. So someone has to read Exit Rich if they want to be educated continually about how to succeed in business and in life. Third is reputational capital.
Mhm.
Michelle, nothing matters if your reputation on merit is terrible.
Right.
Nothing matters. So we are human beings living on earth with other human beings.
Right.
I'm not suggesting we have to be paranoid about what people think of us. I can't please all the people all the time, and I don't try. But I'm not going to do anything to get my reputation damaged. I will not do ill upon any human being. I don't want to take a penny I have not earned. I don't want to take something from you that I don't give you something in return of equal or greater value.
Right.
That's how we build reputation. We help other people. Service is the rent we pay for occupying space on this earth. And by the way, Michelle, you and I live in pretty nice spaces, and so our rent is going to be higher than other
Right.
people. That's just the way. That's just the way it is. Another one is physical capital.
Mhm.
You've always been very focused on health. I know that. Being healthy, because health gives us energy.
Right.
Without energy, we can't do anything. I sleep about 5 hours a night, and I work. I love my work, so I work a lot of hours. Here it is on the East Coast right now. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. I still have another 3 hours or so before I call it a day, and I have a lot of energy. I'm enjoying talking with you. You give me energy, so it's easy to talk with you and give back energy.
And
So
you're
it's-
all about, not to cut you off, but you're all about energy management, not time management.
yes, Michelle.
And you schedule everything to the
In
dot.
5-minute units, so an
Yeah,
hour has
5-minute
12
units.
minutes.
That's right. Now,
Yeah.
see, it's all coming back to me from stage.
Yes, yes. And so remember this, there are 168 hours in a week,
Yeah.
but your energy does not equal that. You have to sleep, and you have to eat, and you have to rest, and you have to walk. So we really have a lot less than that. All these people teaching, oh, you got 168 hours, look what you can do. Not really. You only have a portion of that with high energy, and your energy drops at certain times of the day. So you want to take the time that gives you the greatest energy, that you have the greatest energy to do the most important things. So
Mhm.
that's all physical stuff. Another one, of course, is spiritual. You
Mhm.
know, people who believe, Michelle, I know how you feel about this. People who believe that they are it, they have all the answers,
Mhm.
they can solve every problem, and I am God and God is me. These people are fools, because wait, God forbid, till they have some illness or lose somebody they love, and find that they are devoid of true love or compassion
Mhm.
or empathy, right? So you have to
Yeah.
have a spiritual strength in your life. And finally, as you said earlier, relational capital. We're as good as the people in our circle of influence. If your circle of influence is not filled with wonderful people who can feed us and help us and be with us, feed us intellectually and other ways, then we don't have a circle of influence. We have a circle of concern. And we don't want circles of concern. I don't want to be worried all the time. So relationships are very important. I tell our students at High Point University that your income
Mhm.
will equal the average income of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right.
So if someone says, I want to be a millionaire, but they're hanging around people making, $40,000 a year, this is not going to fly. There's nothing wrong with people who are making $40,000 a year. They're some of the greatest people in the world. They think of a teacher who knows she or he is going to be overworked and underpaid, but they want to teach. And so there's nothing wrong with that at all. All I'm saying is, if your goal is to be a millionaire, you better think like a millionaire.
Right.
How do you think like a millionaire? You hang around some, you read their books, you read Exit Rich, you figure it out, and you feed your soul. So that's what I mean by relational capital, to be able to build bridges of understanding with other people.
Mhm. Yeah. We always say your network equals your net worth, right?
That's right.
Right. So then talk to us about High Point University, because you came in and really turned High Point University around, right? And you went
Well,
to school at High Point University.
yes, I did. Undergrad, I went to High Point University.
Mhm.
But look, I was going to be the chairman of the board of High Point University back in 04, 05. The president who was here for a long time retired. The school was in really bad shape, dropping down enrollment, down to about 1,400. It was landlocked, 100 acres, 91 acres. You couldn't grow, so there's no hope. It had no revenues, about $28 million in revenues. Net assets were 56 million in total, and reputation was not great. And U.S. News and World Report had us as number 17, and that's pretty bad on that rating. The grade was 63 out of 100. So anyway, they talked me into becoming president instead of becoming chairman. Now, Michelle, listen. When I came here 16 years ago, I was at the zenith of my success. I had 1,000 people a year who want me to speak at pretty high fees. People were buying my books and CDs and DVDs and coaching in large numbers.
Yep.
I was then, as I am today, serving on 4 Fortune 500 companies, large corporate boards.
Mhm.
I owned 2 or 3 companies. I had 30, 40 sources of revenue coming my way. I mean, I was floating on cloud 9 and beyond. But you know, Michelle, sometimes we're inspired to throw the box outside the window,
Mhm.
not to think outside the box.
Throw it away.
Because if you think outside the box, you're still using the box as your standard of comparison.
Mhm.
Throw it outside the window. Just say the heck with it. Don't even open the window. Just throw it through the glass. You know, in other words, lose yourself in the transformative spirit. Transformation is about achieving our fullest potential.
Right.
So I don't want to be creative. Creativity is about doing something different. Innovation is about doing something better. So I want to be innovative. To be innovative, you must be transformed.
Mhm.
And so anyway, I prayed about it and thought about it and realized that, I've done pretty well in life and I can afford, by golly, to do something exceptionally different. And so I came to become president. And Michelle, the world opened up its double doors for me on a red carpet and said, come hither, my boy. There's going to be a great future here. And so what have we done here? We went from 1,400 students to 5,600, from 91 acres to 500, from being
Wait. Stop for a second. How did you go from 91 to 500 when you were landlocked?
Great. See now, Michelle, that's why I like talking to you. You catch stuff other people don't catch. Nobody's ever stopped me and asked me that question. The answer
I
is,
hate to interrupt you, but at some point I have to.
Michelle, when you interrupt me, you bring out the best in me. So do it. So we bought 1,200 houses. We're in a residential area. And we made everybody richer, and we reclaimed the land and put our buildings on it. So we only had about 18 buildings. We built 112 buildings.
Oh
I'm talking about 50 million to 175 million.
In what time frame?
Well, all in the last 13, 14 years. It's unbelievable. We did in a dozen years what takes universities 150 years. We just moved. I'm a business guy. I'm an entrepreneur. I go, let's come up with a plan. Let's assess our risks. Let's mitigate those risks. Let's get the right people with us on the team, and let's go onward and forward with gusto. And that's what we did. And so our net assets, remember, were 56 million. Today they're 1.2 billion. And we're number one for 9 years in a row now among best colleges in the South, according to US News World Report. I can go on and on about Hype University, but here's what's important.
So number one
among best colleges in the South. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Over Tulane in New Orleans?
Well, no, this is a category. US
Oh,
News
the
World
category.
Report.
What's the category?
The category is called Best Colleges in the South.
Okay.
There's another one called Best Universities in the South. There's another one called National University. So in that category, we're number one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we are in the top 386 colleges according to the Princeton Review. Remember, there are more than 5,000 colleges in America. So anyway, we are riding high, and we've attracted people from all over the world, and we have 15,000 applications a year. And now we have graduate program, doctoral programs. So we have doctor of pharmacy, doctor of dentistry soon to open. We have doctor of ophthalmology. We have doctor of physical therapy. You get the idea.
So 50,000 applicants a year. How many students do you take?
In the freshman class, we take 1,400.
Wow. So what is your selection process like?
Well, we have,
50,000.
Michelle, I've got 2,000 employees here.
Yeah.
This is a well-oiled machine.
Oh, I know. I've been there.
We look at everything here thoughtfully, carefully. We know what we're doing. We say this is a God family country school. And we think the word profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, is a good word, not a bad word. We think personal initiative is a good thing, not a bad thing. I'm all for small government, not large government. I'm all for saying, have an idea, take a risk, commit your resources, give it all you got, and by golly, you ought to benefit from that.
Mhm.
And Michelle, you've done it in your own life. When you benefit,
Mhm.
and let's say you make money, what do you do with the money? You invest it. You
Yep.
invest it in stocks, which gives capital to companies, which means they hire employees, they buy equipment, which means you create more jobs, which means you pay more taxes.
Mhm.
So anyway, Michelle, I'm like you. I'm a believer in the entrepreneurial spirit. I'm a believer in making good things happen. And so Hype University is, thank God, look, there's a pandemic, right? We
Yeah.
just had a pandemic for a year. I didn't close the school, stayed open the entire time.
Wow.
And in the United States of America, you will not believe this statistic. This past fall, colleges and universities in America collectively had on average a reduction in enrollment of 14.2%. At Hype University, we went up 5.6%.
That's amazing. Now, did you go to online classes or was it still in person?
No. Everything is going on right here in person.
Right there in person.
Even graduation is in person.
And then you also have a business school, right? You focus on entrepreneurship at High Point.
Oh, sure. We have a
You have a
Center
whole
for Entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurship program.
Oh, yeah. We have a Center for Entrepreneurship, Center for Sales, big business school. Yes, of course.
Now, I also remember because you're all about the customer experience, the student experience, the parents experience. You have a director of WOW because you're
Mm.
all about creating WOW experiences. You also, if I remember correctly, have a director of UnWOW.
Yes. Well, the whole idea of the wow
Yeah.
was really to focus on the unwow, right?
Right,
So I'm
right,
glad you remembered all that.
right.
Because look, the way to improve a business or an organization
Mhm.
or a person is to say, what are the unwows that are irritating our customers?
Mhm.
The challenge is if you just focus on unwows, you could become a negative person. People could say, oh my gosh, she only sees they have the glass that's empty. So you have to focus on wows too. But I tell people the wows should be a part of your unconscious competency. It's there, you appreciate it, you see it, and you get engaged in it. The
Mm.
unwow is your conscious competence. You have to consciously look for them.
Mhm.
So what did we do at Hype University? This applies to any business, anybody watching us today. Number one, we created value,
Mhm.
right? You have to have value, whether it's appreciated or not, you have to create value. Number two, we interpreted the value. That's where appreciated value comes in.
Right.
When you interpret the value, it's like buying a chair from me. I can say, look at this chair. It's beautiful. It has a lot of value. Look beautiful in your home. Then I go to the interpretation of value. This
Mm.
chair is made of fabric that doesn't burn. This chair is made of fabric that could be wiped out. You have little children, so you wipe it up very easily and stay for it. This chair is made of the finest wood. It's made by handcrafted experts who know this. Now I'm interpreting the value. So the price of the chair in your mind, the appreciated value just shoots up.
Right.
Third, what we did is we got rid of the irritants. When I'm speaking to CEOs, I'll say, take a piece of paper and a pen and write for me in the next 30 seconds 3 things that irritate your customers about you. What are they? Do you know that most CEOs never call their reception desk? So they have no idea, or even that recording now that you have, they have no
Yeah.
idea what that sounds like. They have a direct line to the VP and so on. So they're not walking in the shoes of the customer, Michelle. How
Right.
do you improve if you don't do that? And then
I
the
call my
last,
company all the time.
yes, isn't it true? It's true.
Yes.
And then the last one is we add wow to the experience.
Mhm.
And the wow is not always just in the physical. The wow is quite often is in the service, as you outlined earlier,
Mhm.
how people feel. Here is the most important question in communicating with people. How must this person feel first?
Mhm.
So this person will do what you want them to do. The moment you accomplish that, you are home free.
Right. It's amazing. I just remember all the stories that you used to tell on stage about if like the shower was leaking, the director of WOW would show up with a
Yep.
basket of their
Yep.
favorite food because one of the intakes that you do when you bring students in, not you, but one of your staff, is ask them, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite soft drinks? And then deliver a basket to create that wow experience when an wow occurred.
Yes. You,
Yeah.
you remember very, very well.
Yeah,
So
I
now
remember the washing machine incident too.
yeah.
Remember how the the clothes were left in the washing machine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the boys were coming in and taking the girls' clothes. So I think
Some things never change,
some things
Michelle.
never change for boys. Didn't you guys like, what did you do? You engineered like a GPS on the washer and dryer that would ring to the student's phone.
Oh
So the
yeah,
student
yeah.
would know when their loads were done. It's simple as that,
Yes.
right?
That's for energy management, right? So you can
That's energy
run your
management.
computer, see which machine is available, go down,
Right.
put your stuff in, and then it shoots you an email 2 minutes before it finishes so you can go pick it up. Yes.
Right. Well, I've been to High Point University. I think the steakhouse is incredible. Yeah.
Well, Michelle, you got to come back because listen, we just built $170 million hotel, conference center, and arena. And you are a woman of great style. It would knock your socks off. You will be able to see the beauty through your lenses differently than other people perhaps might see them. Some people don't appreciate the finer things in life. You'll be able to spot those very quickly. So we have a hospitality major, an events planning major, and we wanted to create a laboratory for them.
Wow.
And so the next time you come here, it's a small boutique hotel, but everything is right there. It's gorgeous. It has a new restaurant called Aloe, similar to the steakhouse that you remember.
Mhm.
And it's pretty cool. You know, we tell students, don't come to High Point University unless you want to succeed in life. That's why we're the premier life skills university. We make sure that you learn what you must learn inside the classroom to master your discipline, but that's not enough. You've got to be prepared for life. That's called life skills. It's not soft skills, it's life skills. And every employer will tell you that those life skills are of great importance. That the
Absolutely.
new college graduates fail because they're not coachable. They fail because they don't know how to think. They fail because they are not ready for the world as it is going to be. Not as it was, not as it is. You and I are focused on the future, not on the past. And the world is moving, Michelle. My goodness, it's moving so fast.
Absolutely. Well, you have to have me come back and speak.
Come on back. Come on back. Come on back.
So let's talk about the habits of super successful people and maybe share some of your habits. I love the 5 units, 5-minute units, but share some of your daily routines and your daily habits that keep you so
I have
successful.
I have a very focused and disciplined life, but
Mhm.
it's also a lot of fun in my life, a lot of relaxation in my life. I have plenty of time for everything I do. I'm very, very engaged in my community, in my region, in the country, a number of organizations. I chair boards. I volunteer in many different ways and so on. I believe that to whom much is given, much is indeed required.
Mhm.
And we have to demonstrate it in everything that we do. And that doesn't just have to do with money. It has a lot to do with service and with complimenting others and encouraging, being an encourager to others, not putting people down, lifting people up. We
Right.
all want to be lifted up. Listen, we don't need to help people out. We need to help them up,
Right.
so that they can have a life filled with success and framed with significance. I go to sleep every night at 9 o'clock. I watch about 15 minutes, 15 minutes of television, unless it's a ball game, in which case I might watch longer. I read 2 books a week. I wake up about 3 o'clock every single morning. I study. This morning I woke up at 1. I went to bed at 9, woke up at 1. I had enough sleep. And I work from 1 till 6 by my fireplace in my home. Whether I'm in High Point, North Carolina, or on a private island where I have a home right smack dab on the ocean, I like my fireplace. It could be summertime. It doesn't matter. Fireplace is not about heat. It's about inspiration.
Yeah.
And so I'll work from 3 to 6. At 6, I walk with one of my buddies for 1 hour, in the neighborhood, but fast walk for about 3.5 miles. Then I come back, get ready, and come to work. At work, I do the most important things first. These typically have to do with me talking to my levers. So even though I have 2,000 employees, I really have about 10 levers. Think of a seesaw, how it has a lever. So what individual has the leverage to make your business grow or make your business go backwards. And
Right.
so first thing in the morning, I'm meeting with my folks. I don't bring them to my office. I walk to their office. That way I can stand up and leave when I'm ready to leave. They've all learned how to deal with me. They make the stack of the stuff that they want to show me, or a list 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go bam, 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 bam. I have a clarity of thought, and therefore I can make decisions very quickly. And they're usually done with intentional congruence. That my decisions are congruent with our goals, our mission, our vision, our value. Then I have some meetings and so on. And then throughout the days like that, it's meetings, it's decision making, it's doing my emails. I do all my personal emails. I get about 300 a day. I answer them all myself. I don't have a neutral email that goes to a secretary or an admin.
You answer 300 emails a day?
Yes, myself.
Yeah.
No, I answer very quickly. I answer with 5 words or 2 lines.
Yeah.
I tell people, when you write me 6 lines or less. Don't send me, these long essays.
Right.
This is not a doctoral dissertation. I don't. If you do that, I'll print it out, put it in my stack, read it the next morning between 3 and 6, and I go home roughly 6ish, unless there is a game or something I need to go support students. And I go home. I sit down with my wife. We have 1 glass of wine, or sometimes 2, and we
Depending upon the
always,
evening, sometimes
yes,
too.
and we insist on good wine. I don't drink cheap wine. Cheap wine gives you a headache. So I drink good wine, and I always like to have it with some peanuts or some green olives or something like that. And then we chit chat about the day. At about 8:15, I'll go upstairs, get myself ready for the next day. Here's the crazy thing about me. So when I go upstairs, I take my clothes off and I put out my clothes for the next morning, right down to the stain in the shirt and the cuffling in the cuff of my shirt. So the reason is, I'll tell you something about me nobody knows. So the tie I wear, I never take it off, like undo it. When I take the tie off, I loosen it up, I pull it over my head, and then I hang it up. That's from years and years of traveling every single day to speak, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. When I get to the hotel, you're tired, you go to sleep, get up the next morning, you got 1,000 people waiting for you. I don't want to stand there and try to do the tie, and it doesn't work. And so now I'm upset. The day hasn't even started yet. So I've learned to take all these irritants out of the system. I don't want to get up the next morning and say, oh, what shirt, what tie, what suit, what.
Right.
I look at the weather and I prepare it. And then I take my vitamins and stuff, and I go to sleep. And that's the routine of my day. On Saturdays, I typically will read a book. So I read several really good books lately. I read a book called 2030, being predictive about the next decade. I read a book called Think Again, which is about, this is a really good book about, I think it's by Adam Grant. And it's a book about always double check your premises. Don't assume something is because it was. Always dig deeper. I say it this way. I say, don't be a horizontal thinker, be a vertical thinker, and be a diagonal thinker. Then you can see the interrelationships with all your thoughts. So I like to study, Michelle. I like to study a lot. And I read good books. I don't read Mickey Mouse stuff. I read really solid stuff. And then, Sunday is usually my day off. And if I'm at the beach, I'm walking every day on the beach. I'm on a private beach, a few other homes there, and hardly ever anybody walking on the beach. It's like, privacy. And I ride my bike a lot. I don't play golf. So therefore I have a lot of time.
Probably because it wastes too much time, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I live on a golf course. I don't play golf.
Yeah, there you have it.
I tried. It's a big time waster. So you read 1 book every Saturday?
I read a book a week, sometimes 2.
Wow.
If I'm at the beach, I'll read at least 2 books a week. Yes, I always have a stack of books. And people send me books, so I love that. And people who know me know that they're going to give me a gift. They give me a good bottle of wine or a book. These are the 2 things. And so I always have an ample supply of good wine. Listen, Michelle, one of my good friends is is a lady who's the chair of the board of a company called My Eye
Mhm,
Doctor. They
mhm.
have 800
Mhm.
800
Locations. Yep.
locations.
Mhm.
And she sends me all these sunglasses. Today she sent me 3 pairs. One of them was a Ferragamo pair of glasses. I mean, she sends me really nice glasses. I always get compliments on my sunglasses. And so there's a lesson in that. I jokingly say, make sure that among the friends that you have, make sure some of them are rich. Because that it's for your benefit. They'll
Right.
give you nice gifts and have nice dinner parties. You enter rich and you exit rich.
Yep. That's why I'm helping more and more people exit rich. So, what
Yes.
is it like to sit on the board of Lazy Boy, Thrive? You know,
Yeah.
some of these
Well,
major Fortune 500 companies.
yes, I serve on the board of the sixth largest financial institution in the United States. It's $500 billion in assets, about 60,000 employees. I'm the longest serving director on that board. I've been on that board for 31 years. And
Wow.
it came from me starting a bank and with a couple of guys and then selling it. And
Mhm.
every time there's a merger, they
Mhm,
pick me.
mhm.
What can I tell you? Usually I'm the pick. I always sort of make it on the next level. It's an amazing thing because on the one hand, you must bring forth value, appreciated value. You must be a
Mhm.
contributor. You must understand the business. You must be a leader, a person of value.
Mhm.
But second, you learn so much
Mhm.
because these are mega boards and they're bringing the finest in the country. So you're going to learn about e-commerce and you're going to learn about cybersecurity and you're going to learn about marketing and learn about risk management.
Mhm.
And so I'm a learner. I love to learn. And
Mhm.
so it's really terrific. And by the way, Michelle, these boards, pay you a handsome fee as well.
Mhm.
So, but for me, it was never enough, the fee, because when I would go to a board meeting 6 times a year, I'd give up 6 presentations, real speeches, where I was
Right.
making a lot more money. So I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I even didn't do it for the prestige. I did it because I really believe that the circle of influence, the zone in which you reside, influences, impacts, and affects the person you become.
Mhm.
So you want to be in a zone that lifts you up, that nurtures you, that nourishes you, and that keeps moving you forward. And these boards, Michelle, as you know, tend to have some of the great leaders of the country on them.
Amazing. Absolutely, they do, and they have you.
Well, thank you. They have me as a sample to show you what not to be, what not to do.
So, what were you like as a little boy?
I was rambunctious. That's what I was. I gave my mom a hard time. I'm one of five. My father died when I was 6 years of age, and my mother was widowed at age 40 or 42. And we didn't have any money, and she had to learn to become a seamstress. She made clothes for people, worked day and night
Mhm.
to feed us and clothe us. But you know what, Michelle? My mom never told me, we can't afford that, son. I
Mhm.
never heard those words. It's like I wrote a book with a learning from my mom called Uncommon Sense. And my mom had uncommon sense. And she didn't have any education, fourth grade education,
Uh-huh.
but she knew her stuff. And I learned so much from her. She would say to me, who you spend time with is who you become.
Right.
Great lesson. What you choose is what you get. You're responsible for your own choices. How you change is how you succeed. You don't want to change? Forget it. Life is moving so fast, you're going to be left behind. And so I was the youngest of the five. My
Mhm.
next brother was 13 years older than me. So maybe I was like an only child, and I was naughty, very naughty. And so my mom really, had a time with me. And I didn't appreciate how sacrificial she was till much
Mhm.
later in life. You know how we are. We don't
Yeah.
we don't acknowledge what our parents do until we become
And it was
adults.
all boys, right? No girls?
No, 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 no. Two boys, two
Oh,
girls,
two boys, two
and
girls.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, two boys, two girls,
Yeah.
and me. And so 3 boys, 2 girls in the family. But look, I finished high school. I always liked girls, so that caused a lot of problems for my mom. I hung around with girls and so on. Sometimes girls of different religion. Going back a few years, that wasn't a cool thing to do,
Right.
especially in the Middle East. And then she sent me to America because she wanted me to have a better life. So I came to this country at
Mm.
age 17, and it's interesting, Michelle.
You came by
Sometimes,
yourself, right?
yeah, I did. But you know what? Sometimes out of adversity,
Mm.
can emerge abundance.
Absolutely.
And so my life is about turning points.
Mm,
You know, my daddy died. That was a turning point. I didn't have a dad, you know, he was
mm,
sick and I never really experienced a dad. I came to America, turning point. You know, I became president of High University, turning point. You know, turning
mm.
point, turning point, turning point.
Right.
And the issue about turning points is that enough turning points accumulate slowly and cumulatively, and they become your tipping point to think differently, tipping
Mm,
point to amass wealth, tipping point to become more successful, tipping point to be more helpful to others. And
mhm.
so I had a speech one time about turning points. You know, I taught these turning points. And I would pause and say, what are the turning points in your life? Remember that time when you failed miserably and you thought your life's coming to an end? That was a great turning point. Because if you were smart, you looked at your failures as productive failures. You dissected them. You learned from them. You
Right.
avoided repeating the same mistake next time. And so life is amazing. We screw it up. We make it difficult. But life is amazing.
It
And we should
doesn't have to be
celebrate.
that difficult, does it?
That's exactly right. And the more informed you are, the more you can deal with the difficulty should it come your way.
So were you the only one that came to the US?
No, you know, my mom came afterwards and my brothers came
But
and
you were the first.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you got into High Point University. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
listen, I wasn't a straight A student. I was having to work all day and what few hours I had left in the week, you know, I told you my number one interest was girls. So
Yeah, I was gonna
uh,
say, and you were chasing girls.
yeah, no, I
No,
beg your pardon. They were chasing me.
they were chasing.
Michelle,
Oh, my
what kind
apologies.
of an assumption did you just make?
What was I thinking?
Listen, I was, they called us foreign students in those days. I had a cute accent. I had initiative and some charisma, and you know, women like that. So
Absolutely.
I don't know who chased whom, but I had a lot of friends, and life was wonderful.
I think, that one of the complex questions sometimes that comes up is how does like somebody like you that's been through all this adversity come to the United States, not speaking any English, and then you have other people who have had much less adversity, don't really do anything with their life. What is that, I guess, common denominator? What makes somebody so successful while others are not?
Awareness.
Awareness.
Awareness. One of the greatest gifts you can ever have in your life is the gift of awareness.
Mm,
Some people can walk through the most beautiful garden ever invented and not be aware of its beauty. Some
mhm,
people can listen to the most gorgeous piece of classical music and not even hear it.
mm,
And some people can have opportunities on a silver platter and totally ignore them and
mhm,
go on whining about what isn't instead of focusing on what is. These people are trying to get to no, they're not trying to get to yes. So awareness is so important. And I think you learn awareness from the people you hang around with and what you
mhm.
see, what you experience. But once you have awareness, you apply it to all kinds of things. Some people are not aware, for example, that you can succeed. Some people are not aware, for example, that you can improve your lot in life. So they go on complaining about the past and the present without any view of a better future. So guess what the future is going to be like? It's
Yeah.
going to be a duplication of the past.
Well, to complain is to remain.
Well, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I think how do we get awareness? We read books. That's a great place for awareness. We hang around people who have a sense of awareness. We go to seminars. I always tell people, look, if you read a book and, you pay $30, $40 for a book and you read it, all you need is one thing out of that book.
That's right.
One
One thing.
idea. If you go to a seminar, it's a 3-day seminar, you walk away with one idea. Believe me, it's worth it.
You used to
Because
see me in the front, taking notes,
I
taking notes, taking
always,
notes.
you were always on the front, always on the front row. And by the way, you paid extra for that to be on the front row. And that's what people have to understand is that people who have success in life,
Mm,
typically they pay their dues to get there. You don't just win a lottery ticket.
right.
You
Absolutely.
you climb the stairs. You didn't take the elevator up there.
Absolutely. Well, you have been wonderful as always. Any other golden nuggets for our listeners that you would like to leave them with?
Well, just to say that hope is eternal,
Mm.
and what comes our way does not have to stick with us forever if it's something we don't like.
Mhm.
We can find ways to improve it, enhance it, increase it, decrease it, whatever it is that we believe is appropriate. But at the end of the day, I do believe that, I have a simple commitment in life, which is I invest 1/3 of my life in earning,
Mm.
1/3 of my life in learning,
Mm.
and 1/3 of my life in serving. And I've discovered, Michelle, in my life that the appropriate combination of all these three enrich my life measurably. If I only invested my time in earning, oh, sure, maybe I would have more legal tender, but to what purpose? To what
Right.
end? And so I want to make sure that I am a holistic person.
Mhm.
And people who are built from the inside out, typically they think that way. They're not just trying to get,
Right.
they're also trying to give.
Right.
And they're joyful people. And other people want to fake it till they make it. It doesn't work. That
We've
doesn't
heard
really,
that saying a few times.
yeah, it doesn't work.
No, I agree 1,000%. So what's going on with you now in speaking? Because you used to speak at so many different events, and then
Yeah.
speaking role kind of stopped. What's
Well,
your
of course,
thoughts,
the
outlook on that?
pandemic stopped,
Yeah.
all meetings. I now accept engagements very sporadically and very carefully. I've traveled, so much of my life that I'm not really that interested. I turned down literally all international engagements because I turned one down this morning because I just, don't want to do that. But I am writing a couple of books. I'm running a very successful university. I serve on
course.
corporate boards. I am a partner in many businesses, and I still speak. But I'm not speaking, like I used to speak 140 times a year. I'm speaking probably 20 or 25 times a year. Michelle, I have to be honest, I do miss the kinds of meetings that where you and I met, and the kind of meetings like that. And the reason I miss them is because everybody there is a learner.
Right.
Everybody comes there to learn. They just want to suck the knowledge out. So that environment is so conducive for growth and development. It's motivating. I miss that. I have to confess, I miss that. And I will do some of those meetings. I do a lot of YPOs, very successful presidents, organizations, and so on. But and a lot of corporate meetings. But my favorite in the older days, my favorite used to be network marketing companies. I speak at all these big, 10,000 people, and you come up on stage and they give you 10 minutes of ovation. You haven't earned it yet. They give you the love first. Like, we know you're going to be great, so we're loving you already. And you get up there and you do your thing. And these people stand in line for 2, 3, 4 hours, one time 5 hours, to buy your books, take a picture with you. What they were really saying, they weren't saying, I care so much about you, my God, you make my life. What they were really saying is, you're a conduit at this point in my life. You are a connector for me. You said something, you did something, you taught me something that has connected me with my soul. And now I believe I can, or now I believe I can move in this direction, that direction. And I always walked away feeling so good that I could help someone. And you know my style. I mean, I'm more of a statesman style on a stage. I don't push people. I don't try to sell them stuff. And
Right.
I just really want to help. And as a result, a lot of people have appreciated that over the years and remember me and in many ways, recommend me to be on this board or to speak over here or even send their students to Hyper University, all of which is to the good. And I'm deeply grateful.
Wonderful. Well, you've lived an amazing life. Is there anything that you're hoping to achieve? One more thing that you haven't done that you really want to accomplish?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of things.
Well, you've accomplished so many. So,
for example, in my home city, in the last 2 years, I raised $100 million because our city was not doing very well So raise $100 million to build a baseball stadium, and with the hope that around it, they will have a lot of economic development. And sure enough, now hotels going up, apartments going up, etc. So I've loved that. I wanted to have, we don't have a children's museum in our city. So my family and I have built a $30 million museum in High Point, North Carolina for children. And I wanted to make it available for those who can afford it and for those who cannot afford it. And we've accomplished that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And Michelle, my heart, I believe, is in the right place.
Yeah.
And I've been so blessed in so many ways that I want to give, I want to share, I want to help, and I want to plant seeds of greatness in other people's lives. And in my home city, I take leadership positions to move our people forward. And I'm talking to you, you're my friend. I have a good reputation. People like
you have an amazing reputation.
and I celebrate that. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what's so important to us? You could have $10 billion, but if people don't like you or respect you, what are you going to do with the money? You're just going to buy a bigger yacht and a bigger house. I mean, at some point, money has a definitive place of influence. So we value our relationships. I respect every individual, regardless who they are, where they come from, whether I agree with them or not. And then I value every relationship. And you value the relationship based on win-win, what's good for them. I don't want to win and you lose. Right. And frankly, I don't want to lose and you win. I want a win-win relationship because those are the longer lasting. You and I haven't talked in 2 years, but when you wrote me, I said, of course, I'd love to be with you. And you don't have to see someone every day for them to be a good friend, right?
Right.
Because friendship has a way of spreading its wings, and you and I are helping people every day with things you and I have learned and committed ourselves to. And that in the end is what I think makes life worth living.
I agree, 1,000%. Thank you so much I feel honored and blessed that you've given me lots of units today. Thank you so much for coming on my Exit Rich podcast. Any last words or how people can get in touch with you? I know you're extremely busy, so.
Yeah, Michelle, I've known you a long time. I've always respected you and admired you for your tenacity, for your innovation, for your spirit, for your desire to learn. And you've written a great book now, and you're doing great things. So be assured that the benefit was all mine for being with you here this afternoon. I wish you greatness in all you do. And I hope that we will see each other in person before too long.
Yes, I am looking forward to coming back to High Point University.
Yes, come on.
Staying at the boutique hotel and bringing my daughter to the Children's Museum.
You're welcome anytime. You're welcome. Red carpet is out for you.
Thank you so much. Well, my husband adores you, so I'll make sure I bring him too.
Bring him over. Bring him over, Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Nido Qubein. Thank you so much for being with us again. And thank you to all of my listeners for listening to another episode of Exit Rich.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Exit Rich podcast. Don't forget to check out Michelle Seiler Tucker's Build to Sell Blueprint books and Exit Rich, along with more blogs, videos, and resources at exitrichpodcast.com. Be sure to connect with Michelle on Facebook or LinkedIn and stay tuned for her next episode by subscribing in your favorite podcast player.